Hello, 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 fam. What's good? It's Friday. It's your girl Cher, and I'm back. And today, fam, I have to tell you. First off, I hope everyone out there is doing well. It's been a long week, y'all. But we've all come back for one more time here on the show. And I'm ready for the weekend if y'all are, put it that way. Today I am so super excited. Fam, let me get a little closer. Fam. Okay. Your girl is real excited today because my lovely guest is none other than Alicia Marie. I'm going to do a little bit of intro for her here because I think it's important. I'm going to give y'all the cliff notes, but if y'all don't know about her already, you better ask somebody. Okay, here we go. So, today, I have the honor to chat with my wonderful guest, Alicia Marie. She is a costume artist and designer who has worked with the likes of such celebrities as Jamie Lee Curtis, WWE superstar Ronda Rousey, and platinum recording artist Megan Thee Stallion. Alicia Marie is also a TTRPG performer who often dives deep into cosplay for her characters. Currently, she plays your junior partner attorney at law, Feyruza Armstrong, on Demiplane RPG's weekly live stream, Children of Erte, as an all-around badass and author of the Fit Cyclopedia of Nutrition and Booty Boosting Exercises entitled The Booty Bible. Alicia Marie is the physical inspiration for some of the bodacious female fighting characters you see in popular video games today, including Mortal Kombat and Injustice, both published by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. And in May of last year, she was introduced as a playable character in the Sony interactive game Predator Hunting Grounds. Having had cochlear implant surgery to restore her ability to hear speech and sound, she is also, besides being a badass, she is also an advocate for accessibility for the deaf and hard of hearing. It is my absolute pleasure and privilege to introduce Alicia Marie.
What's up? Hello, Dice Goblins. How are you? I need to hire you to do all of my intros for everything. I'll just sit back and go, carry on.
Thank you for giving me a mouthful to say. How
Thank
are
you
you
for
today? How are
having
you
me.
feeling, love?
Thank you for having me. Like I said, I'm happy it's Friday. Welcome, Goblins, to my extremely messy studio. We're in the middle of one of the most major costuming seasons for people who do any sort of tailoring or making professionally, because we're wedding season on top of the fact that the world has started coming back. So everybody who put their weddings on hold for the past 2-3 years, well, yeah, they're happening this year. And then the second verse is Halloween, but that's another story.
I can't even imagine. Oh my gosh, the plans that people make. I mean, I know people that make plans in advance for years.
Yeah,
just
that's
for
good.
the
That's good.
right
That's good.
outfit
That's good.
for Halloween. And it's phenomenal the amount of work and energy that you have put into all of the fantastic cosplays that I've seen you do over the years. And I said, this show, we talk about dice most of the time, but all things TTRPG really at the end of the day. Okay. And cosplay is definitely like one of the biggest things. Okay. So here's the thing. When let's talk about your latest character on Children of Erte, for example.
Yay!
Feyruza has my heart so much. Okay. So this admittedly, this is the very first character, and one of my little ears is not on straight. So bear with me as I adjust. For those
Dedication.
of
It's
my for those of
dedication.
my listeners at home, once this goes on the audio podcast, you're going to be
Oh
amused to
gosh.
know that I've been fiddling with my ear for like the last 5 minutes. I'i'll get it eventually. I'll get it.
She has her
Um,
goblin green ears on for
gotta
this.
gotta gotta break them in. Gotta break them in. And shout out to my ear stylist, Evelyn
Nice.
Chant. She's the one who was able to create the ears with my skin that match my skin tone.
Oh, they're
Before her,
perfect.
I could never find like adequately
Yeah.
enough of a match, skin
Yeah.
tone wise. But
Hmm.
when it comes to Feyruza, I
Hmm.
feel like it's just so phenomenal the way
Thank
that you've
you.
crafted. I mean, I love the way that you craft all of your characters, but this
Thank
admittedly is the
you.
very first character
Hmm.
that is human. Is she has that ethereal glow about her eyes. She's
Yeah.
able to, do things related to a supernatural
Hmm.
aspect. But
Yeah.
like, and I'm from New York originally, born and
Oh, me
raised.
too,
So,
Chelsea.
yes. So imagine my amusement when the conversation starts coming around to, oh, where are you from? Oh, Bed-Stuy? Oh, I'm from Brooklyn too. And then Adam pipes up and says, I'm from Georgia. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah, for like New
yes,
Yorkers, so
sir.
we're all like,
I
yeah.
was, I was like,
Me
Adam, welcome
too.
to it. I love it. I love him and
Mhm.
his characters as well. And
Mhm.
but yeah, Feruza's demeanor, it's
Mhm.
like everything that she does, all of her actions, um
Mhm.
point to her backstory, and her
Mhm.
backstory is becoming more and more, coming more to light as the story
Yeah.
progresses, of course. um but just from the fact that she was adopted, um
Mhm.
and that she has fought obviously to get, if she's a junior partner, right, at a
Yes. And
big
she's
uh
young, you know?
yes, young,
Yeah.
junior partner at
Yeah.
a well-known, prestigious Manhattan firm, obviously denotes the challenges that she had to do to get there, and
Mhm.
then some of the actions that you have her do in gameplay kind
Mhm.
of reflects like, well, if she's, been through the foster care system,
Mhm.
she's
Yeah.
she's had to kind of be independent in certain ways.
Mhm.
She's like always watching to see what other folks are going to do, and
Mhm.
uh trying to help course correct some of some
What
missteps
she's
that
yeah.
happen. But there's
Mhm.
talk to me about what what was your look when you put together her look? I was like, this is
Oh,
sharp. Like,
yay.
please.
Oh gosh, I tend to love. I mean, I love menswear as women's wear. I love like androgynous looking. I love suits. I love me a blazer. I love. I mean, so I. This is the first character where I get to go really kind of all out with it. So it's like I'm gonna make my dream character. Okay, I'm a big, huge Zendaya stan. I
Yes.
love
Yes.
Zendaya.
Oh,
I love Rihanna, and I love Zendaya. Them both. So I was like, okay, so when we were looking at sort of the character art, I was like, if you can marry like a Rihanna-esque Zendaya look. So she's really, I don't want to reveal too much about the game because everything is supposed to unfold by design, which is frustrating
mhm.
for some people who are watching because they want to know what
Mm.
classes we are, they want to know what races
Yes.
we are. But part of the story, like it has to come out. So we can't be too forward with what we say, but um there's a reason why she's super so tall, skinny. She's she's really
Yes.
tall and
Yes.
she's really tall and skinny. She's almost like I describe her as looking almost like olive oil. So she's really quiet, sort of nerdy. She has a very difficult time connecting with people, but that comes from the fact that, like I said, she did, have a really sort of rough start to her childhood. And there's a there's a reason why basically everything on her there is a reason. So like her eye color, there's a reason. Her hair color, she's gray. Now, why would she have gray hair at that age? So, but I think in the next couple episodes, you're gonna find out why her hair is that color. But
You know,
everything
and
I created in her is very deliberate. It's very deliberate.
I get
Yeah,
that
that's reason.
entirely, and I remember thinking in the beginning when I had thought, "Okay, well, she's platinum blonde," because that's a thing too. I mean, there's
Mhm.
plenty of young folks walking around that have deliberately,
Yes.
dyed their hair
Yes.
platinum blonde as a
Yep.
choice. So I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, this fits." I mean, we're talking about she's a New Yorker. I mean, that's the fact that, in a fantasy setting that she's
Mhm.
able to, have turquoise eyes and match you with platinum blonde hair. I mean, maybe in real life, maybe they might look at you a certain way,
Mhm.
of fascination IRL. But I
Yeah.
mean, here I was like,
Yeah.
girl, go for it. Yes, let's go. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. As soon as you said pinstripes, I was like, oh yeah, that's New York.
Yes.
That's
She's
yes.
totally yeah, she's a New Yorker and like I'm from Manhattan, so I lived in Chelsea for 13 years. So with her, I basically give her a little bit of from my past. Like in my mind, the brownstone she lives in is the brownstone I lived in. I never had a bird, but I do like birds. So I gave her a bird, and I did know a bird that barked like a dog. So I gave her a bird that barks like a dog.
When I saw that, you have to understand, I have 2 little birds. I'm a bird mommy
You
as well. I
do?
have 2 Quaker parrots. They are my
Oh,
joyful noise.
yeah, they do
And
noisy.
that's why I was wondering, do you have an actual bird? But it was so fun to know that Fairuza has a
Has
cockatoo,
a
and I was like,
bird.
"Oh my gosh, she's even a bird mommy. Oh my god, I
She's a
love
bird
this
mom.
character." So,
Yep.
but yeah, like just
It's
and the you had me through the floor. The
God.
first like major action that Fairuza ever
Oh,
did was when things started looking a little creepy and scary. And what does
yeah.
Fairuza do? She whips out her axe, and I was
People were like, "What?" I was like, "But wait."
through. I was through the floor with this, and you know what? I was like, you know what though? I could see that
Mhm.
because going back through, her
Her
time in the
family.
foster care system, I mean, you have to fend for yourself. Quite a
Mhm.
bit when you're a foster kid, and I was like, well, hell, and we're talking, D&D or at least tabletop role playing. I
Yep.
mean, you're defending
That's it.
yourself. You're picking out your weapon. You're
That's
taking
it.
that out.
That's
So
right.
I was through the floor, but I was like, I totally see it though. I could
It's
totally see
happening.
that.
I feel like everyone's like she has a mini X. I'm like, well, okay, so she was adopted right before she was a preteen by a family that owned a lumber supply company. But her parents, her adoptive parents, were like they were older and they were sort of like kind of even though it's a big company, they were very
Right.
grassroots. They still chop wood themselves. So I always say Neb said it best when Neb said, "Well, Feruza comes from a family of lumberjacks," and I was like, "Oh my god, I do." Oh, wait a minute, I do. I didn't even think of it that way. I was like, I guess I do work from a lumberjacks. Yeah, they do. They do. They chop wood. And that's another thing I took from my own history. I was not a foster child. I do have very deep feelings about the foster care system, and
Mm.
it fills me with like I see all the kids in foster care. I'm like, I want to Angelina Jolie and adopt them all.
Right.
But I do have back in like my past, my great grandfather, he owned like a lumber sort of supply company, which was a feat for a black man in the early
Yes.
1900s. Yeah, to own
Wow.
a lumber company in the early 1900s for black. So that I took from my history. Like this is the one character I got to pull things like from my past. I will say Feruza's personality is the opposite of mine. My personality is like Harley Quinn, but not crazy. Not crazy. It's not like my personality is not wacky. But my personality is very like chaotic. Oh, creative. Like someone's like hippy dippy a little bit. I'm talkative.
Yes.
I'm like kind of hyper. Feruza's more thoughtful.
Yes.
Um,
She watches
she's
everything going on, and I
yeah.
noticed that. And I said, it's funny because that's sometimes we as New Yorkers get mistakenly characterized because of
Hmm.
that. There's a
Yeah.
certain level of street smarts. Let's be honest. There's a
Hmm.
certain level of street smarts as a New Yorker that you have. where,
Yeah.
don't talk to nobody, don't look anybody in the eye, let people, do their business, mind your own. It's
Mhm.
just a thing that, your parents sending you out as a latchkey kid most of the time,
Yes.
will warn you about, and, that's how you learn how to
Mhm.
navigate street life.
Yeah. That's
Um,
right.
but I found it fascinating that some of that reflected in some of the
Mhm.
ways it's like, well, folks are talking, but I see Feyruza is quiet. And then
Mhm.
she's like, well, how about if we do this instead? Because
Mm.
like the first time that you were like, Feyruza is like considering that she's gonna have to talk to all these people. I was through the I was like,
She's like,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like
speak
I'm very
on it.
talkative. I'm chatty. I like to make friends. Veruza's more standoffish with people until she gets to know them more, and that's just
Yes.
a figment. That's just a of her coming up, and she's sort of focused on like being the best and being an attorney and getting out of where she was as a child,
Right.
like mentally, like sort of proving herself that she kind of forgot in the process to make friends and learn how to open up to
Yeah.
people. So she's having to like, okay, so I'm now gonna be friends with these people. Okay. But she doesn't know how to do it. So she's awkward. She's just awkward with it a lot. So, but for me, I'm not really awkward with it that way. I'm more like, hey everybody. But
Yay!
so
And
I had to
I can relate. I can definitely relate. And what I'm
that
gonna do here, let me
yeah.
I'm gonna transfer us over where I have your Twitter up here. And
Oh
I
yeah.
love this header where you have all of
Mhm.
your characters that you've done throughout
Mm.
the years. Just like I said, you've been so versatile when it comes to cosplay. And,
Mhm.
I remember my days of LARPing back when in my very early 20s.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was when I had a more svelte figure. And
Oh
then
girl, you can do
somewhere after the freshman 20 or whatever they call it now, the
it.
freshman 50 probably by now, like
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
life happens, some of
Yes.
those things fall away from your life. And
Mhm.
so I was like, oh, I probably will never do cosplay again.
No, do
And
it, please. We're like in an era of people wanting to see all people, all sizes in cosplay. That's what people want to see. It's like enough with people being like trying to be perfectly perfect, like the freaking character. No one looks like that. So it's literally people want to
right.
see themselves in cosplayer. Sometimes more people to do Storm,
Oh
more people to do it,
yes.
more people to do
Like
it.
one time I came across there was a lovely young lady that
Mhm.
and it's funny because I saw one of the images that I saw of you from, I think it was it from, from a recent con, right? It's
It
the
was.
Harley Quinn. Oh my
Oh
gosh,
yeah,
when
that
I
was
saw the
recent with my friends.
Harley Quinn, I was like, oh my gosh, look at this, just bodacious. And I had seen I had been to a con about
Mhm.
5 or 6 years ago, where
Which
I had
one?
seen a young lady. It's one here in Florida. It's one that you may not have known about. It's one called Conjure
Oh, okay.
Con,
Oh, no,
that
I've
was
heard of
here
it.
in Florida.
Uh-huh.
And there was a young lady that was walking around as Lady Doom, like Doctor Doom, but she was like
Oh,
full, like she had a dress, long coat, she had like scale mail going, and she was my size. And I was like,
she tore it up, didn't
girl,
she? She looked good, didn't she? See? Mhm.
fierce as all get out.
Considered.
And
Yeah,
so
I like
that,
it.
everything that you've done, put it this way, everything that you've done over the past several years
100 years
has
and
just
400 years
been
old.
slowly but surely been my inspiration. Like, all right, all right.
Ah!
And matter of fact, you know what? Just for that, I mean, whenever I get just another second of your very busy schedule, I know
Mhm.
exactly what I want to come back into the cosplay arena as. It is an
Ooh!
established character. I will say
Oh.
it's an established character, and it is from the world of Critical Role. So, without spoiling it, I
am like,
mean,
oh, I
girl,
don't know.
you and I gotta talk. Put it that way. I do not
Oh.
trust this with anybody else. But yeah, I mean, just it's freeing when you're that's why
Yeah.
when the series Hawkeye came out, no spoilers
Mhm,
really there, but
mhm,
there are folks who are cosplayers that are
mhm.
featured in the series. The way they are
That's awesome.
portrayed, chef's
Just
kiss.
perfectly.
I love it.
Mm,
I absolutely love it.
I love
Um, and
that.
one thing I wanted to ask you here. First of all,
Yeah.
let me just say for the folks in the back right now, like I said, if you don't already know, you better ask somebody because
You better ask somebody.
when Alicia Marie shows up in character, she shows out like deep cosplay game. One of my favorite cosplays of
Mhm.
yours was when
Okay.
you were a female orc in full
Oh!
barbarian garb. You had
Oh, you
painted skin, you had the tusks and everything.
like it?
It was phenomenal. I was like,
Thank
and then
you.
in doing more research before today,
Mhm.
learning that that was one of the first times that
It's
you
my
were on
first
live
time,
stream. And
yeah.
I was like, say
Yeah.
what? I said, she came to play, y'all. Wow. It was really, really amazing.
It was so hard,
Oh my
It was
gosh.
lit, yeah. That was
Like
stress the first time.
how long did it take you to put together the look?
Okay, here's the thing. Like, I have in my head just a running like look. Like, I'll see some like a character somewhere. Like, that could be perfect for like a ranger one day, or that could be perfect for a barbarian one day. So I always have like looks, and as a costumer, I always have look ideas, and I'll see like a design element that someone used like on Drag Race, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm taking that for something someday. That's going on. I'm gonna morph it and make it my own and do it. Drag Race is a great resource, by the way. Oh, Drag Race is a
Wow.
great
Okay.
costuming resource. They're like geniuses and stuff. So,
Okay.
I always have a running list of things I want to do. So then I'll take whenever I'm about to play a game, and if the game wants us to dress, if I have a character in mind, I already know kind of what I want to do. It's just figuring out the construction of it.
Got you. Got
And how
you.
fast I have time to make it. Do I have the materials to make it? Like, something else I'm doing. And then it's just throwing it together because I have so much fun with it. I have so
Oh my
much fun. I
gosh.
mean, I have all
And it
this stuff.
shows. It shows. Oh my god, just the detail that you go
Thank
into.
you. So fun.
It's just phenomenal.
Thank
So what
you.
I'd like to do, looking at our
Mm.
time, we're about halfway
Yes.
through. And what I'd like to
Okay.
do is give my listeners and my watchers, give everybody 5 minutes
Oh.
to grab a bio break,
Okay.
take meds, grab water, do what you guys need to do.
Get
Because
hydrated.
yes, stay hydrated, folks. And when we
Mm.
come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about entrepreneurship in the space,
Mm. Okay.
TTRPG stuff, and of course, we're talking dice. So stay tuned,
Yeah, some dice to
everybody.
show you. Some dice to show
Yes,
you.
we are back in 5, guys. fam. We are back. We are back. I'm so glad to have you with me today
Yeah,
because we
me
got
too.
Alicia Marie. Oh my gosh. Girl. Over the break, we were discussing how you put together looks. Talk about
Yeah.
a little bit for my listeners and my viewers about if folks are on the fence, right? Like I was a long time ago about being a larper, dressing up in costume. Talk to us about what should we look for, what kind of stylist, should we, what kind of questions we should ask our stylist, all that, please.
All that good stuff. Okay, so one thing I wanted to definitely bring up is that, cosplay knows no size, it knows no type, it knows no color, race, gender, nothing. You can do and be whatever you want. Trust me, it doesn't matter how perfect you think someone else looks, they're getting crap on the internet from people. So you might as well do what you want anyway, no matter what.
Yes.
People will be like, I'm like, do you want to look through my comments? Do you want to see the stuff? No matter what, you're going to get crap. No matter what you do, you might as well do whatever you want anyway. That's my whole philosophy. So cosplay does not necessarily mean you have to be a maker. And that's one thing I have to stress to people, because a lot of people come to me and they're like, but I don't know how to make full armor. I was like, when I first started cosplaying, I did not know how to make costumes either. I just commissioned them. So like there are makers like me and other makers who we make costumes. That's what we do. So you can always just sit down with like a costume maker and kind of like jam and say, like, what are you looking for? Because you can take a costume and decide to change things in it to match your own style, which is something I always do. And people think my costumes are like 100% canon all the time. And I'm like, if you look closely, there are always things that I will change to fit my own aesthetic. I'm like, I don't like how low that line is. I'm bringing the line up of the costume seam a little bit. I'm adding seams to make it, but people, they don't perceive those little changes. So one thing I love doing, especially when I talk to people who are looking to get into costuming, get into a costume, is like, how do you want to change this to make it yours if you want to? And like, that's why I think, and people love that. It always looks better. People really respond to the creativity. That's why we talked about this share. People love gender band cosplays and what is it? Crossplay.
Yes.
Like when people love that. They love seeing, the female Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. People just die over stuff like that.
Oh my
So
gosh.
like, yeah, people love fun. People like when they see the creativity. And I always bring this up to people. I think one of the funniest costume mashups I've ever seen was when someone did a Freddie Sailor Mercury costume years ago.
What?
And it was this guy and he had a Sailor Moon costume on, but he had like Freddie Mercury hair and he was like this with a microphone the whole time. And I was like,
oh my gosh, my
love
heart.
people.
Yes.
I love people. I love
Wow.
people.
And it's an energy. It's about capturing an energy.
Yes. This is fun. This is
And when
fun.
you
It's
make
art.
when you make that your own like that,
Yes.
oh, it's just the
Your
absolute
thing, man.
best.
It's you. You're doing this for you. And you're showing
That's
people what
it.
you've done, but yeah. Yeah.
And that's
So
it.
don't like, we were talking about this also, is don't like, a lot of people, we all have body sort of things. We look in the mirror and say, I don't look perfect. I'm not going to cosplay. People want to see people of all shapes and sizes now. We're in a beautiful time in this way, in that people are really responding to that. I told Cher a story how I did a cosplay group with some really good friends, and one of my friends is got way more curves than the rest of us, and she was worried about how. Like,
Oh
the
yes,
viewers-
I'm gonna go back to because I had the walk on screen. I'm gonna go right back to it because this was
Okay.
just when I saw this, I said, "Girl, yes!" It
Girl.
just I was like, "All right now, all right." I think the last time that I played a Catwoman for Halloween was when I was
Yes.
still a teenager. Gosh, that was like.
God, I
I was watching like reruns of the 60s Batman, and at that time I do believe that Michael Keaton as Batman had come out.
Oh,
And so, of course, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, oh my gosh,
Genius.
and so there was, the Catwoman costume at that time
Mhm.
was very popular. So I think this was the last time like I played, I played Catwoman at all. And so, of
Yeah.
course, but that's when I was like a size zero. So,
Mhm.
like, you know, being able to see fellow
Mhm.
sisters out here that are
Yes.
thick, that are curvy,
Killing it.
are killing it. Oh my gosh.
Killing
So,
it.
yes, this walk on with the three of you ladies, I was like, yes, amazing.
I like it. My
Amazing.
sister was serving body. People loved it. She got not one negative comment that she was worried about, not one personality. Everybody loved what she brought to that Catwoman. So it's really nice to see like when people bring their own selves to their costume because everything's been done. So show us
Yes.
something different. Show us something
Yes.
different, you know?
Yes.
Who
So
cares, man?
we had also one thing that I definitely wanted to ask you
Mhm.
as a creator, right, in the
Mhm.
TTRPG space.
Yes.
First of all, it's phenomenal learning the way that you have transitioned into the TTRPG space. Um, Talk a little bit about your experience, because of course there's those layers of experience that we have.
Mhm.
There's being black in TTRPGs. There's being a black female in TTRPGs. Your added layer is being a black cosplayer. Talk to
Mhm.
me about the things that you've experienced thus far. Are there things in the game that you'd like to change, and what are those?
Like, okay, so this is I have followed TTRPGs and Dungeons and Dragons, Critical Role. Like I followed the community from afar for years because I just sort of, like most people do, I held myself back because I am hearing impaired, deaf. So I have cochlear implants, which allow me to talk and have this interview. But I I am identify as someone who's hard of hearing, deaf. So I didn't really feel like I could ever participate in it. So I just sort of looked at it from afar. And let me tell you something, TJ Storms, Satine Phoenix, two people who used to be like, we'll make it work. Come play with us, we'll make it work. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Because it's a lot of anxiety because I was a lip reader I'm a lip reader. Um,
Got it.
After
Wow.
my first ear surgery, I had it done in 2019. I responded very fast to it, but I worked at it. I worked. Like I did there's a lot of, I mean, it's a whole nother discussion, but it's a whole process into retraining your brain to hear the way cochlear implants hear. I mean, there are movies and TV shows about how cochlear implants sound. So you have to do a lot of work in order for sounds to sound human. It's a lot of
Wow.
practice and work. But right after I got it done, I was having a conversation with TJ Storm, and he's been a DM and been in the TTRPG D&D community for eons. He's like, "Oh, that's great. You're playing your first game in January." And I was like, "That's a month from now." He was like, "Yeah, you're playing." I was like, "No." He goes,
I love how
"Yes."
you have been voluntold.
Yeah, he was like, "You're doing it." And I was like, "Ah."
You
So
you have been
he was a
voluntold.
charity.
I
And he
love
pulled
it.
me into that. And I was scared to death, but that like sealed the deal for me. Everybody was so nice and everyone was helpful because I didn't really know what I was doing. But everyone it was fun because it felt like everyone was wanted me to come in. And it was like I feel like the TTRPG community is very welcoming that way.
Yes.
Christine,
Absolutely.
Christina Ariel,
Yes.
we
Oh my
we
god.
we did a Totally Spies cosplay together. Me and Utami cosplay and Christina, and she had already started doing like a lot of TTRPG stuff. And I was like, you have to teach me at some point, but I'm not sure. I don't know. But she was always like, you got to do it. So it's like I've always been, and that Mercer, I've known him for years too. All these people are like, why aren't you playing? I was like, because I can't. I realize now I was the only thing that was holding myself back. I totally could have done it. People are very accepting and helping, and there's ways to do all of it.
We are
So,
always our own worst
yeah.
critics, aren't we?
And
It's
we hold ourselves
yeah.
back. I was like, why did I keep myself out of this fun for so many years? Oh, So frustrating. But anyway, I'm here now.
It's
We're having
amazing.
fun.
And you know what? To
Fun.
that end, there is a charity that you've brought to my attention called Pause with a Cause. And
Mm.
according to their mission statement, Pause with a Cause enhances the independence and quality of life for people with disabilities nationally through custom trained assistance dogs. Pause
Mhm.
increases awareness of the rights and roles of assistance dog teams through education and advocacy. So, can you please tell us about how you came across this wonderful nonprofit and what it means
I
to you?
love them. I love them. They're fully accredited. So basically, like you said, the mission statement, they train dogs for blind, for hearing dogs, people who just have cognitive disabilities. But training a dog costs a lot of money. But they want it to be where these animals are accessible to people who need them, and not just if they have, $15,000 to purchase. They want to make them readily for people. So I like that that's what they do and that's what they're about. I'm a big, huge dog lover. I love dogs to death. Um, so for me, it's like marrying my two things, like animals, causes with dogs, because they're just me and dogs, man. And then also looking out for my people who are deaf, hard of hearing, because deafness is an interesting thing. Again, it's another discussion, but it's somewhat of an invisible disability in that people can't tell you are deaf unless you speak to them or they ask. So I went through a whole series of time where people just thought I was really snobby because they did not know that I was hearing impaired. Like B Dave was like, I just thought you didn't like me. I was like, no, I didn't want to talk to anybody because having
B
a conversation
Dave,
was so difficult. Yeah.
Sir Lich Dominus
Starlet, yes.
himself.
The
Dear, what
Wizard
is
of the
there not to
Coast.
like about you, B Dave? Come on, come on. But wow, and
I was like,
it's the implicit bias, that often gets in the way
yeah.
of
So I mean,
really
it's
getting to know who you are.
yeah.
How did you first off, how did you figure out that as a
Mhm,
person who is hard of hearing,
mhm.
that you would still want to be in more of a public spotlight? I mean, before the years you've gone through TTRPGs and such,
Yeah.
years before that, I mean, you're this fitness authority. Talk to me about the entrepreneurial aspects that you had to develop, or maybe you thought they were there all along. Talk a little bit about that for me.
Cool. So you mean like entrepreneurship, like going from it being a hobby, fitness, or everything,
Everything,
cosplay, or
fitness,
everything?
writing a book, costume design, all of that. I mean, it
Mhm.
speaks to me, maybe it's just me, but it speaks to me there is an entrepreneurial spirit, an aspect to, just knowing that, all right, you know what? Yeah, I want to do this.
How do you do it?
And being hearing impaired or no, I mean, I'm sure there's many among my listeners and watchers who, each in our own right. Like I said, we're all our own worst critics, and so,
Ron was critics.
we have a tendency to hold ourselves back. How did you push forward through that and leap into these different entrepreneurial things?
That's right. Yeah, I always tell people I lived like 20 lifetimes. But I like something you just said, how you said, we sort of hold ourselves back, but like literally life, we have one life. If there's something you want to do, try it. Maybe you don't like it, forget it. Move on to the next thing. I'm a huge advocate of if there's something you are interested in or something you think you might be interested in, try it out and see, because it might be the thing that becomes you. So everything I've done, whether, I was a production executive at MTV for many years. And I started competing in fitness competitions for stress relief because I'm a competitive person. I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm really competitive. I started doing really well in them. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. So then magazines started calling, can you write some stuff for us? And that's when I started getting like certifications so that I could speak on it at conferences and stuff. So that pulled me out of MTV into fitness. And I started doing more and more in fitness. And I got, like you said, the magazine covers, and I got to experience like what it's like to be a fitness type superstar type, which was a lot of fun. And then I started, looking at like, I've always loved, and these are things that are facets of me that I've always loved, like since youth. I've always loved costumes. Like when I was younger, I'd dress up and I'd always win costume contests. I was an artist when I was a kid.
Wow.
So when I was a kid, I was always like the kid who won like the best drawing and stuff like that. So I was always artistic. So I remember I got invited randomly from a friend to go to San Diego Comic-Con 2010. And I was like, what if I go, but I'm dressed? And that's before cosplay was like super popular. We were still like a bunch of weirdos. Halloween was like 10 months ago. What are you doing?
Yes.
So I was like, what if I go as Storm, but like high level, like take it there, Storm. And so I talked to a friend of mine who works with neoprene, and he was like, yeah, sure. So we just did it up, got the hair, and I did it. And that was like, I entered the Marvel contest, and I came in second place to Iron Man. And that for me was like the beginning. And like that took me out of like primarily fitness. Like keep moving along.
It's like, okay, then, now there's this.
There's this. I'm really for like take things as far as you want to take them. Don't dump them entirely. I'm still a fitness advocate. I still do fitness, but I love the idea of being able to explore everything you want to do. You want to be on your deathbed, right? And being like, dang man, I lived. I freaking lived. Regret. I want to be like, I lived.
Yeah. and one thing I find that when it comes to fitness, and certainly, you know what? I'll just say now, when we have you back, because we must have you back. We definitely. I would love to. Like that's a whole other hour discussion at least. But when it comes to your involvement with the community and giving back as a fitness authority, like did you find that there were enough resources for communities of color, for example, or communities of the hearing impaired, or you know what I mean? Talk a little bit about how those aspects marry together for you.
Yes. So when I first started fitness, there was no like real social media, because I got into fitness professionally when I was like a teenager. It was like 2003. You know what I mean? So there was no like resources like for that came to be with social media. So when social media blew up, you can find people. Before we had no way of finding each other, and I was in Connecticut. I was like, they know people here, so I just did what I did. And then when I started getting bigger in magazines, people found me that way. So I used to put on a series of camps. Fitness camps. Okay. Yeah, this is before social media. So people would all fly into New York, and like we'd have a big weekend, and it was all fitness and diet. And I'd have speakers, and 15 lifetimes, I told you.
Yeah, boot camps.
And I'd have
stuff. Wow.
Yeah, I'd have women would fly in, and we would talk fitness for women. And that's where like, because I think for a lot of people, I was like the first Black woman people saw in magazines, fitness magazines especially. I always tell people when I first started in fitness, and I told one of my like agent friends, I was like, I want to be on the cover of a magazine one day, a fitness magazine. And they told me in 2002, well, don't take this personally, but like a lot of magazines are scared to put like a Black woman or another woman of color on a magazine, because then it becomes like a Black magazine or an Asian magazine or a Latino magazine. So but they'll put you inside, totally put you inside, but they'd be afraid to put you on the cover because it makes it like a Black magazine, And I was like, watch me. The next year, I was on 2 magazine covers, national magazine covers. I was like, don't tell me no.
That mentality, I swear.
Yeah.
I've never understood that mentality And the fact that you were told that, and it's the 2000s
Yeah.
already, and they're still saying stuff like that to you. I've never
Yeah.
understood the mentality of, at least in the business savvy
Mhm.
sense, to take away eyes from your product or your service or your magazine, as opposed to
Mhm.
getting more eyes on it. Because I'm not a captain of industry. Please don't
Mhm.
take this as if I am. But in trying to put two and two together in my mind, I feel
Mhm.
like the more people, no matter what color or background they're coming from, they might just go ahead and purchase the machine, the magazine, and then make you like a ton of more money than you're
Thank
already
you.
making. I'm like,
What?
what is that disconnect that
Uh,
that those people in those positions don't see that I know I'm able to see. So I don't know,
mhm.
but what do I know? I'm a plebe. I
No, I agree with you. I
you
no,
know what I
I
mean? It's
I
just
sit here. I'm totally agree with you. I think fitness in general is behind as far as representation. Fitness is to me one of the most behind sort of industries when it comes to representation across the board. And because they're their own little thing, people don't look too deep into them. But I'll tell you, they're still not much farther
Hmm.
than they were. Not even
Wow.
kidding you. So what I don't even
Interesting.
care. I have whole, like I said, it's a whole nother conversation. But I don't one thing I will say about the entrepreneurial thing that we started before, because I tend to jump off on my ADHD sort of thing. Um, I don't really like the idea that everything is a hustle. Like you don't have to make money at everything you do. I do think that a lot of people do. Obviously, you want to get paid for things you spend a lot of time on, especially if we all have jobs here. We have to make a living, we have to pay the bills. Um, if there's something that you think you do want to make a business out of, you have to think about it this way. And I bring this up when I talk about fitness. What do you want your life to look like? So when I started getting into fitness and I started writing and then speaking in fitness conventions, and I used to speak for Miss USA on fitness stuff as well, to like the hopefuls and Miss USA hopefuls and stuff.
Wow.
Um, I do not like personal training. I like fitness, but I don't like teaching, like instruction one on one. So you have to sort of say to yourself, just because I like fitness does not necessarily mean I want to teach you in a gym fitness. So if there's something that you want to do, like, oh, I want to be a cosplayer. What do you want to do in cosplay? Do you want to be a cosplayer where you're a model, performer? Maybe you do stuff like a convention, stuff like that. Do you want to be a maker where you're a commissioner type maker? So when you decide, it's honing in on exactly what you want and not just saying, oh, I want to be fitness and that. Like, what do you
Right.
want? Do you really want your life to be in a gym running people through machines? If that's not your gig, maybe you're a fitness writer. Maybe so it's trying to find your edge, you know?
Absolutely. Being specific about what you intend
Yeah.
to do.
Like, what do you want your
Always,
life to look like?
always, always.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what I'd like to do now.
Yahoo!
Here's the fun part. We get to compare dice. Yes, yes, yes. I'd love to see what do you have with you today. I'm going to switch us side by side. So we're side by side. And now, please,
Okay.
we'll break out those math rocks. What you got for us today?
Okay, these, in fact, I'll show you these first just because they're sitting right in front of me. These are pickle dice from Die Hard Dice, and I like them because these are literally their pickle dice, and they send it in a green bag. This is never pickles on it.
Oh
And they're
my
green, and they're like marbled, and look how cool the D4s, aren't they cute?
gosh!
I like
Amazing. And I always
I
love
love
their
pickles.
D4s because they're less
Yeah,
painful
they're
D4s. Thank you, Die Hard
Glad
Dice.
drops.
I
Oops.
appreciate you for that. Yeah.
Dropping. Don't want to drop dice on the floor.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I'll show you this one. This big chunky boy. This is from Tooth Claw and Coin on Etsy and Instagram. This is my Ahsoka Tano D20.
Yo, that is super dope. Oh my
Working it, look
gosh,
at
and it's got a
that.
liquid core.
Yeah, look,
Wow,
it's
that is like a crown.
literally
Oh my
so
gosh.
good.
You're
Isn't that
blowing my mind
rad?
right now. It's just a big
It's
old
so
crown
perfect.
jewel. Like that's a centerpiece,
It is.
I love
I was
it.
like that, but he makes some really cool ones. I have this is also Tooth Claw coin, and it's a like a dice roller.
Oh
For
yeah, look
the
at how fun. Oh wow, look at that. So
because if
much
you feel like shaking things up
fun.
a little different, be like this. Wheel of Fortune. A
Yeah, I love
7, maybe
it.
not.
Sometimes you don't. Well, it depends on where you're playing.
Mhm.
They have homebrew. Most of the streams online these days are homebrew
Mhm.
campaigns. But if you play Adventure League, which
Mhm.
are sanctioned games, within different cities all over the country, you run a module that's already pre-written, ready to go, but a lot of those times it's the back table room of your local friendly,
Yes.
game store. And it's
Mhm.
like maybe, a cubby hole of space that you have being at a table with
Mhm.
people. So I love that. That's really
I
awesome.
love it. It's really, in fact,
Yeah.
like all the dice that I have for Children of Verte is by Die Hard Dice. Like they
Oh
sent me
my
one of my.
gosh.
I'm a breast cancer. I'm a breast cancer survivor. So
Are you? Wow.
yes, that's why I
Congratulations,
was before
love.
I came here. I was at my doctor, but they sent
Beautiful.
me a bunch of pink dice. Die Hard Dice did send me a bunch for breast cancer awareness color.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. And they sent you the turquoise that so perfectly matches Feyruza. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Oh
this
my gosh. Look at
Die
that.
Hard Dice has
Oh
been my
my
jam,
god.
and I'm like,
Well,
oh my gosh.
that's wonderful. And like I say, congratulations on being a survivor.
Thank you.
Lady, you have just been hitting the ground running. I know I don't have any dice that are nearly as fabulous as that, but we gonna try.
Show me.
Today I have two dice in particular because I love dragons.
Ooh,
Not just Dungeons and Dragons, but dragons are
just
my
dragons
totem
in
animal
general.
for sure. Yes. And so I have a there's a whole set I have of this, but if you can see the texture
Wow.
on
Yeah, it's like a
the
dragon
size of it,
skin.
exactly. And I saw
Oh.
this was actually a lovely gift from my
Oh.
DM. Shout out to my DM Vanessa. She actually gifted these to me, and it
That's
corresponded with a
nice.
character we just finished a couple of year-long campaign,
Oh.
and my sorcerer tiefling
Oh, you tiefling.
went well with this. She actually had a draconic background, so she
Okay.
gifted
Oh.
me that as a set of dice. And then
Oh.
I've got this is actually from Die Hard Dice. Yeah,
Yes.
we're talking. This has turned into Die Hard QVC. So, and I'm not sorry about it
Mhm.
either.
Me
This
neither.
here, the
Oh,
dragon
wow.
scales that are on this one as well.
That's
And they call this is
nice.
an eldritch one. And I
Oh, that's
said,
nice.
oh yeah, I love me my metal dice.
Weighted.
I
Yeah,
love
is it
my metal
weighted? It's got the
dice.
weight to it.
It's got that weight
Yeah.
to it.
I love
And
it. I
I'm a
love it.
I'm a heavy-handed woman as it is. So I'm like, I love my plastic polyhedrals. I do,
Me
but sometimes
too.
they'll go across the room. So it's great when it's great when I have that weight and that feel
Mhm.
to the metal dice.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in case
Let's
you
see.
didn't realize, your girl loves purple. And
Yes.
so, of course, I have to have one of my
Let's
favorite
see.
metal
Oh, the
dice.
purple.
Yes,
That's
purple
magic.
with
That's pretty
silver trim.
too.
This is me right here for sure. And
That is
so
you.
I mean,
Bright
I have so
violet.
many. I have an actual. bag separately for all the
Uh-huh.
purple dice that I own, plastic, metal, and otherwise. Because I mean,
Oh,
it's a genre for me. And so
purple.
foil in there, glitter in there, silver or gold or what, just as long as it's purple. Yes,
It's going in
indeed.
there.
So, yes,
I love
indeed,
the
it's
theme.
going in.
I may have
So,
to do a theme dice bag, like a pink theme dice bag and a turquoise theme, or a turquoise
yes.
theme dice bag because of Feruza.
Yes!
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Pick a
my
color,
gosh.
like pick a color to go crazy with. Green, maybe. I'll pick one color to go crazy with. I'm gonna do that because dice collecting, it's a sickness in our community that we don't want to cure for.
I mean, as I as I had said to my previous guest, Dimples and Dice, if you need to have a separate budget for your dice buying, yeah, you may have a little problem, little bit, but it's okay. It's manageable. I promise.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I remember when I played a few games with Athena Ember. Do you remember?
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
yes.
She was like, I was like, oh yeah, this dice thing. I'm like, I keep buying them. What's wrong with me? And I just started playing because I started playing in 2020. And she pulls from her side this giant barrel full of dice.
I
I was like,
believe it.
oh my
I
God. She was
believe
like,
it.
I was like, you know what? I don't feel bad anymore.
And I
Yeah.
love her too.
Oh, she's
I've been a
good.
big fan of hers all
Me too.
throughout her WWE career. And then when I was
Yeah.
like, oh, she plays Dungeons and Dragons too, I was like, oh yes, yes. I
Nerds.
mean, it just so happens that D&D, for me, D&D, you know, transpires across so many different areas of life.
Yeah.
It's that universal thing that,
Mhm.
doesn't matter where you're from or what kind of background that you're from, you can definitely find a realm within it to enjoy.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so,
I mean,
I'm gonna say
yeah.
this.
Go ahead.
I'm looking at our time,
Oh
and
my gosh, we're over.
it's okay. That's all right. Listen, hey, it's my channel. I can do what I want. How about that? But I do
Mhm.
want to be respectful of your time. I know you're a busy lady. And you know what? Congrats to that lovely couple that's about to get married. I mean,
Oof.
the thing that when you reached out to me about that,
Yeah.
an actress, I'm a screenwriter. I had a short
Oh,
film that ended up being about a woman who is trying to fight over her cosplay dress
okay, that's
for
funny.
her upcoming wedding.
That
And
is
so
hilarious.
when you told me, I was like, girl, you and I gotta talk. We gotta talk more about that. Probably another time. But that's gonna be like another hour-long conversation.
I love it. Oh
But
God,
just
I love it.
I'm so
Thank
impressed and
you.
so just humbled by
Oh,
all of
thank
the work that you
you.
do for the community, for the
I am.
TTRPG community, for
Mhm.
the hearing impaired community.
Mhm.
And we've got your links all posted in the
Mhm.
chat.
Thank
Folks,
you.
go check out Alicia Marie if you haven't already. You'll be glad
Mhm.
you did. Real
Mhm.
quick, if you'd like to, by signing off, let folks know, once again, especially for our listeners, where to
Mhm.
find you and what your latest projects are that we should have an eye out for.
Awesome. So you can follow me on all socials at Alicia Marie Body. One thing is, I'm here in LA. I live that NDA life. So a lot of the projects I work on, I'll be working on a project that I can't talk about it until I'm allowed to talk about it. But when I'm allowed to talk about it, they are pretty cool. So if you follow me on Alicia Marie Body, anywhere on socials, you can find me doing what I do. As far as the TTRPG stuff, super exciting. I love it. It's been the most wonderful experience being a part of this community. Everyone's been really welcoming. I am looking forward to moving more into the DM seat. I got to do it once at Hyper RPG for one shot, and the bug is bitten, and I'm going to be getting into more DMing, especially because representation is needed for women of color in the DM seat. So I'm coming through. I play Feruza, like Cher said, on Demi Plane's Children of Air Day every Tuesday, new episode. And I also, right now, I'm doing a G.I. Joe sort of mini series on the Renegade RPG channel.
What?
We're doing an actual
Yes!
play. It's like, okay, yeah, it's on Tuesdays as well. And then lastly, one thing I wanted to mention is that Jasper's Game Day week is coming up, which is always a lot of fun because I feel like Jasper's is like the chaos week where everyone just, has that one shot to bring out that character that is just off the wall. Everyone goes crazy.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes.
So I have a pretty cool character planned for the May 13th game at night. So
Nice.
Ron Ogden is my G. So I'm excited about that coming through.
Oh my gosh, Ron Ogden from over there from the Dungeon Run. Yes. Oh my god. You are going to be in really good hands. I'm telling you. And congratulations on your leap into the foray as a DM. I see you repping the Game Master shirt today. Yes, ma'am. All right. So she's ready, folks. She's ready. So really, really looking forward to it. Alicia, thank you so much for being with us today. There is a sign off that we do on this channel.
Okay.
All right. So if you're ready, here it goes.
I'm ready.
So we, on this channel, when we're signing off, we say love, peace, and soul.
And soul, baby.
This is how we roll.
This is how we roll. Love, peace, and soul.
Ma'am.
This is how we roll. I love it. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Alicia. And I'm going to transition here one more time. Do an outro to my listeners, to my watchers. Thank you so much for being with us here on the channel today. Every way that you support this channel helps me to be able to bring quality content to you every week. And I would say definitely keep an eye out on all my socials for some upcoming episodes and content that I'm bringing brand new to the channel. Matter of fact, over the next year, I really plan to bring like brand new stuff that I can't talk about just yet, but we're forming partnerships in the background. We're getting things together and ready for you. Stay tuned, friends. And with that, I will say bye now. Mwah. Proudly sponsored by Kraken Dice and 88 Riddles.